We are live. This is Impact Money. You got David Porter, my brother Bruce Porter Jr. We'll have Matt Dixon on 20 minutes after the hour to go over the market charts. And we're reaching a large distribution there in Texas and Louisiana. Good morning to you folks out there. And we are here to make a difference in your market making and your outlook of these world events. So I want to remind you, you have absolute control over how you react to these things. And we'll be looking at Trump. You know, he's on fire, man, is killing it. And the gold, silver markets are doing pretty well, reacting to the substantial gains in your Bitcoin market. And we will get this thing rolling. So we want you to learn from our network, from the Smart Money Network, smartmoneyculture.tv. We have all types of different business concepts going on there. Your credit, your taxes, your trading, and also Mr. Fly Mackey with Go Bigly. And he's always killing it, giving us great advice, great information, and really it's a pleasure to work with him. Let's check out Mr. Networks Manager. There's Bruce's mic is locked. His camera is locked. We are live TV. Oh man, Shib Whiff Hat is on a tear. That one's doing good this morning. NASDAQ is going up. Yeah, they're pumping the funds into the space. Your Dow futures are edging up. Let me pull this on the screen here for you guys. Share my screen. And Networks Manager on X. Find all of our great information there. Double check this, add it to the screen. Perfect. Yeah. Maybe we'll be in Paris soon. We'll see our friend from Skylight. Salvador. And you know, Bruce was an early Bitcoin investor, and we got started building all types of things. I'll let him tell you more about that. But yeah, you see the NASDAQ, we're going up 18 on the NASDAQ. Dow's rolling up. And Bruce will be with us in a little bit. But we have gold. I'm telling you, put your crypto profits and get yourself some gold, something super sound. That's sound money. The same amount of gold buys from 100 years ago buys you the same type of product today. That's sound money. Crude oil, they're pumping some inflation for you. And Ripple's a nice one I like to play. You know, you make those nice easy gains, and it's pretty easy. If you do catch a downside, it's pretty easy to be patient enough to gain it back. Ripple's smooth.
Good morning, David. How are you, sir?
Is Bruce on the line there?
Yeah, a little bit of technical difficulties this morning.
Doing good. Just checking out your latest Your latest on X.
Yeah, I was working away, and then I went to go live, and it said your screen or your camera and mic are not working, and so I poked around because, of course, there is some setting that it can just turn that stuff off, but I don't know. Then it crashed, so it needed to restart, and here we are, live. Well, there's a lot going on this morning. How you doing out there in Dublin?
We're doing pretty well. Everything is okay for now.
Everything is okay for now, he says. All right, cool. So as we said in the title, Bitcoin, gold are up, stocks, oil are tepid. Trump is on fire.
I think maybe you froze on us. At least on my end. You seem to be a bit frozen.
When I restarted it, my back. All right, yeah. When I restarted it, when it restarted itself, I should say, it started all those processes that I turn off.
Yeah.
So I tried to turn it off. Anyway, I stocks up. The war in Ukraine and Israel is waging on Lebanon. As a matter of fact, Israel told Lebanon that they have I don't know, 7 days or something to get some kind of agreement, or they're going in full force. So that's going to be a mess because Lebanon's not going to do anything over the next 7 days. They're actually people. They're going to be fighting for. I don't think they're ever going to agree on anything. So if one wants to be the aggressor, then that's going to continue. But of course, that's going to be more military spending. Probably that might even be one of the reasons they're doing it, to make sure that they get some of these bills passed. Let's talk about some of the exciting stuff, though. Of course, we have Trump. And let me get over our link for our friend over here. Of course, we have Matt Dixon joining us as well. Like we always do. And let me just get that over to him here. So Trump is really just on. He is on fire, and it's funny because they keep trying. Like if you look over, let me just share my screen over here. If you look over at the news, it's pretty funny. The news things are like, people are upset, or he's in trouble, or whatever. Where is it here? Of course, Ukraine and the U.S. can't really just say Ukraine sunk another new Russian warship. It's going to go over like a box of rocks. Anyway, it's not popping up, but it's one of those things where they're just always, everything's always for, he wins the nomination wins the Super Tuesday by a mile, and everything's all bad. This guy Clandestine, he's a pretty popular account here on X. If the status quo remains, Trump is going to win. I want to be excited, but I know a counter punch is coming. The swamp are not going to just let Trump win, but the clock is ticking, and we are 8 months out. Everything hinges on the enemy's next move. What hopes will they try?
They definitely got to be planning a move. I mean, they're all rolling over. It's too early for them to roll over like this.
Or, like I said, like I've been kind of saying the whole time, is that they're already kind of planning on him winning, and they're just trying to minimize what he can get done. We'll see. I think, they're not done trying to stop him, though. I think what's interesting is well, there's a few things interesting. This is Trump. I think this was last night. This is good.
And we won. With your support, we will soon be taking the oath of office on the steps of the United States Capitol, and we're going to have a whole different country. As soon as I lift my hand from the Bible as your 47th president, I will seal the border, shut down the invasion of millions and millions of people coming into our country, and we will start an energy revolution. We have more than anybody else.
He's been out there saying a bunch of stuff. Glenn Youngkin, I endorsed him. He's the governor in Virginia here. I'm actually in Virginia, Washington, D.C., Virginia, right across the river. Now, this is funny, though.
That says Trump 20.
She's actually.
That's that says Trump 2024.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We love you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, do you think that looks like Trump, or do you think that looks like a double? Yeah, I said it. I mean, of course, they all use him. But doesn't it look like a double?
That's
Smile.
that says Trump 2024.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know.
So they've deployed the National Guard. The National Guard is deployed. Let me see here, 11:56. Let me get this one out here. The National Guard is deployed in the New York subways. Now, David, you and I are used to seeing this stuff in Europe, right? I mean, that's kind of like if you go to Paris or you go to these different other places, that's kind of what it looks like. They have the guards, the military with the long guns.
Yeah. You talking about bringing the military into the subway?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Man, what a funny process. I mean, talk about discriminating, just picking people out. You might have a weapon. Let me strip search you.
Well, it's interesting because, I mean, it's interesting for a number of reasons, but one of them is, of course, it's like, I mean, in my opinion, my not so humble opinion, as I always say, you know, it's this is all stuff on purpose. You know what I mean? They bring in all of these crazy people, and then we're all supposed to
cater to the crazy people.
Yeah, we're all supposed to just be fine and living with these people, which is rough.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we didn't need to bring. I mean, obviously, if you bring all these new millions of people into the country, then you're going to need to take new measures. I mean, we don't know who these people are.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've been so slackadaisical on punishing crime that they've let the crime run rampant. I mean, I avoid the New York subway at like all costs. I'll pay $100 before I have to go on the New York subway.
Our good friend, of course, he loves it. He follows. He's always on.
Yeah,
there.
he likes to get in the gritty. He likes this fresh smell of urine in the morning.
That's exactly right. It smells like absolute heck.
You never know what crazy person is gonna try to pull money out of your pocket or bother you. I just can't deal with that New York subway. That's an experience.
It's too much. I mean, come on, guys. You know what I mean? All right, I just wanted to put this out here. The new National Guard deployed to the NYC subways. What do you think about that? You know, it's a mess. It is an absolute mess. There is no doubt about it. And I think that, you know, in order for, I don't know how we go back. I mean, they're going to have to, deport all kinds of people. And I'm not saying anybody's bad people. I'm not saying anybody's bad. or that they shouldn't want to come here. I don't blame you. I want to leave here, but personally, no, I'm kidding. No, I don't blame you for wanting to come here. And if I was, from somewhere else or something, I might, do whatever too. But it doesn't mean it's a good situation for the families that are here and the people that are here. Let's talk about money. A lot going on. A little off my rhythm again a little bit today because of my camera and mic being off. But let's bring in the great Matt Dixon here. Sir Matt, how are you?
Hello,
Sorry,
good morning.
I haven't been keeping up with my messages too well, but it's a lot of different platforms now. You got to keep up with so many different platforms. It's like, anyhow,
Yeah.
how's it going? You look
Yeah,
great.
really good actually. I'm looking forward to just running through the assets today because there's so many. I love it when they all fit together, the pieces of the jigsaw, just to see how the assets are reacting, the correlations between the assets. The only one that appears a bit uncorrelated is gold, one of your favorites. Gold is just rocketing, isn't it?
It really is. I think, gold, when it makes a move, usually it'll sit there for a long time. I mean, it makes Ripple look like, a quick mover. But then it'll just move, and we might be on that point.
Yeah, so we'll look at gold. I mean, can you see my screen now?
Let me add you to the stage here. There you go. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, we've had some really interesting moves. So we can actually see DXY here, so US dollar index here, and this long-held channel that we had. And I told you the other day we broke below the channel. I said we're going to retest the what was support and is now resistance. So we retested, just spiked briefly above, and then the US dollar has really started to sink against the basket currencies. So that's really, really interesting that we are starting to see weakness in the dollar now. And that's really because I think that there are some signs that the economy is beginning to show some signs of weakness. So it's a little bit concerning in some ways. I've said for a long time, all the signs are there that recession is coming. And this means money printing is coming. And this is why gold. So we talk about correlations and why things are moving the way they're moving. Well, gold is really one of the great hedges against inflation. When they print money like crazy and the buying power of the money becomes less and less, then gold is that hedge, that store of value. A little bit like Bitcoin in some ways, but I think Bitcoin is in the very, very early stages of development of becoming true digital gold, a real safe haven. But gold is that long recognized safe haven. Especially in times of high inflation. And it looks like inflation is coming our way, particularly in America, which is the driver of the world. And that's why we're seeing the US dollar falling. But just look what's happening with gold, through the roof.
Yep.
So, absolutely amazing. I mean, there's a buy signal early on. This is just on the 4-hour chart, but you can see a really good buy signal early on there. And price of gold just continues to push and push. And that is really a sign. It's a sort of, a symptom of what's going on in the wider economy, and the fact that we're seeing these interest rate rises being pushed back and pushed back. When I say rises, sorry, the interest rate falls being pushed back and pushed back. They basically cannot raise rates because the economy can't really handle it. And so that's why the US dollar is becoming weaker and weaker, and why risk assets are probably a good place to be. And I actually think that this is good. I mean, as I say, gold is the safe haven where you want to hedge yourself in times of high inflation. But as we go up, we can see that risk assets, even S&P 500 currently, because it's basically a risk asset, and there's, the US are going to be printing more money. I mean, what can they do? If the economy really slows down, the only things they can do really are print money, but that's going to create more and more inflation. So you can see now the dilemma that they've got, and there is the spectre of stagflation looming. So this is obviously S&P 500. It's going exactly according to plan, really. We had the A wave higher, B wave down, and then even before that started to happen, I said I'm expecting a further wave to the upside, and I think that could well be potentially at least a short-term top, short, medium, maybe even a long-term top. So if you remember when we looked at those long-term charts from Sid Norris, he actually put those together. He's he's been around, as I said last time, more years than me. And he said that we're near potentially an all-time high, which is going to be a turning point, pivot point in a lot of these markets, like the S&P, the Dow, the Nasdaq, and so on. So if that's the case, this could potentially be a long-term top in the market, and we could start to see a substantial downturn. So recession's not good. Obviously when there's expectation of lower interest rates in the future, that's normally good for risk assets like S&P 500. But when it goes beyond that and it actually goes towards, recessionary, then it's really bad for all round, bad for everybody really. And so I don't believe that stocks can rally if we do head towards recession. Certainly, if, as I say, with lower interest rates, it's always good for assets. But when
you're muted somehow. I can't hear you guys.
He froze on us.
Okay. Let me message him.
He should come back.
Gremlin's in the code today.
Yeah.
The U.S. dollar is crashing.
Bruce?
There you are.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I don't know why it froze briefly. That's not really the chart I was looking for with it. Yeah, that's rather odd. So what I'm basically trying to show here is, and it's not really showing it, but we're in a sideways consolidation now. I'd actually have this labeled differently, but anyway, we're in very much a sideways consolidation. You can see it just going sideways. So we had the other day the all-time high. We moved down from there, we got a sell signal, then we're moving up, we got a buy signal, and basically we're just moving sideways. But this sideways consolidation, I looked at it on a shorter time frame. I mean, I could even
And this
look
is
at it.
BTC, just for anybody if you got mixed up in the flow there.
Oh, okay, yeah. So with Bitcoin here, yeah. Sorry if it did cut for a while, but basically the all-time high in Bitcoin there was 69,200 or 300, somewhere around there. It was actually, well, I've got it 69,210 was the high. But anyway, whatever it was, it's different on different platforms. But that was the all-time high, and then we got this sharp pullback. We had 14% in just a matter of a couple of hours. Really sharp fall. Well, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours actually. So in the space of 5 hours, we had 14%. Now, whilst that's really exciting for people that you can get these sort of moves, and traders do love volatility, but it's not good for the likes of pension funds and institutions. Bitcoin is maturing. Obviously, it's now approved as an ETF, and it is a maturing asset. It's still, though, quite an emerging asset. And hedge funds, institutions, pension funds wouldn't really want to be holding an asset that can just drop 14% in the space of 5 hours. They don't need quite that level of volatility. But for traders, it's really exciting. But anyway, we've had this sideways move, and actually the triangle has appeared now, and we've got potentially an A down, B, C, D, E. And if you looked on a shorter time frame, you'll see these are each broken down into 3 waves. Potentially, if we do move down towards an E wave here, then a triangle, the break from the triangle should be towards the upside. And not quite sure how high it will go. There are techniques that you can use to measure the likely terminal point of a break from a triangle, but the break is what's called a thrust, and it should be quite an aggressive move. So if we do get this move down in the E wave, and that looks as though it's happening, you can see I drew a trend line from all these little peaks here on all the prices. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 touch points, and this now is the 5th touch point overhead, and prices retreating down perhaps towards an E wave. And if that's the case, then we're going to get a really good push to the upside yet again. So that would potentially be, from a risk reward perspective, a really interesting place to buy with a stop loss somewhat below. Now, the E wave is the only wave which can under or overshoot the trend lines of the triangle, but it doesn't do it by much. If it does undershoot or overshoot, it's only a very small amount, maybe 10%, something like that. So it's a, if you can still get set a very, very tight risk reward structure on your trade there. So that's, triangles for me are the best trade opportunity in all of trading. They're reasonably rare, but when they do happen, there's potential to make a lot of money, because what's called the thrust from the triangle is normally very, very aggressive. You can set your risk reward very tightly. So it's, as I say, for me, it's the best trade opportunity that you'll probably ever find. Ethereum, and again, stop me whenever you want to stop me, but Ethereum is following the same sort of track. It's been a little bit more aggressive recently than Bitcoin, but again, the same sort of corrective movement. It doesn't look at all impulsive to the downside, so this is just corrective. So you can see this movement up after the sell-off the other day. The movement up is really strong, and then we're just getting a slightly downward, slight downward, is almost a flag formation where you get the flagpole and the flag, and this would be called a bull flag. So the break from it would be to the upside. And again, as I say, if it does turn out to be a triangle, and you need to look on a shorter time frame to confirm that, then the break to the upside should be quite aggressive. So we'll certainly be looking out for that. XRP, again, that was the level that I had for the target, and look, it tagged it beautifully. And then we've got some really good upside on XRP. And once again, potentially, we may just see a little bit more downside, but then I think these are all going to be correlated, and I think they're going to rocket to the upside. And Litecoin, I'm moving on to that quickly, because Litecoin was one that I'm hoping, if we go onto the 4 hour here, perhaps, we might be able to see, yeah, that's it. We can see this, another triangle. And as I say, triangles for me are the best trade formation that you can get in trading. So when you get a triangle like this, it fits nicely normally within trend lines, which is exactly what it's done here. Then the break from the E wave is the thrust that you get from it, which is really aggressive to the upside. Your risk, if I put these lines in perfectly, your risk is very, very small to the downside. If you were to put a buy trade on here on the termination of the E wave on this trend line, your risk would be really very, very close. But look at the massive reward there to the upside. And if you put a trailing stop, you probably stopped out when we got that sell-off the other day. But I think looking longer term, I actually believe that this is effectively a W. The triangle is an X wave. And then following the X wave, you get a Y wave. And a Y wave would itself be made up of 3 waves. So we have 1 wave up, 1 wave down, and I think that we're going to get a further final wave to the upside. So I think on all of the markets that we've looked at so far, we're going to get this push to the upside. And even Solana, if we just skip on to Solana, again, doing amazingly well, very, very positive there. We got probably a completed correction to the downside, and now we're pushing again up with Solana. So all the assets appear to be pushing up short term. I think we're going to see new all-time highs on a lot of assets, even the S&P 500, just going back to that. I think we're going to push to a new all-time high for the S&P 500, a new all-time high for Bitcoin, and the other assets will kind of follow suit. But I think this could be the final move up in all of the assets, because remember, I've always said triangles are pre-terminal moves. So a pre-terminal wave means that the next move following it, the thrust from the triangle, should be the final wave. And the one that we saw from that, as I say, we've got Litecoin is looking really good for an ABC as the final wave. It'd be, it'd be basically a Y wave, as I said. It'd actually be a Y wave to the upside. So all of these things tied together, I think, are really helpful, because right now you can be long in this market, I believe, and reasonably confident with very close stop losses just below. And I think there's some really good upside to be had. So we can look at any other tokens you want, but I think that gives us a flavor of where things are going. And as I say, it's looking very positive right now.
Yeah, well, there you go. Right. I mean, the crypto market, guys, it's really just going, and gold. These high risk markets are really something else. While you're looking at, oil is kind of funny. Hey, look at this gold. So, guys, if you go to atcostmetals.club or atcostmetals.com and use referral code clubs, you can join there. We're getting at cost gold, silver, palladium, platinum. Crypto may be scary for you. I get it. High risk, high reward, or loss. You could lose too. But
I absolutely agree with you, Bruce. It's interesting to look at oil, and again, that kind of tells you a little bit about the state of the economy, because normally gold and oil are quite tightly correlated. They tend to follow each other.
Yep.
But if you are seeing a slowing of the economy, that's actually not particularly good for oil, because you're going to see a reduction in consumption, so reducing demand for oil. So I think that tells you really where the economy is. And I do think that all these things are telling us, the DXY, we saw dollar index, we've seen that breaking down sharply. Really, it's been a long held parallel channel, and it broke down from that channel quite sharply. So, it's telling us the US economy is looking ahead. And don't forget, these guys are smart. These people who are trading, the big institutions that are trading, they are smart. They don't trade what's immediately in front of them. They trade what's coming, and they can actually see what's coming because they look at all the indicators. They look at bond yields, and they look at bond inversions, and they look at long-term pictures of where unemployment is, where inflation is, all of these different factors. And then they obviously listen to what the Fed has to say, but they have their own opinions about where things are going, and they're very, very good at pinpointing where things are going in the future. And that's why markets actually move usually before the Fed. So the Fed is kind of reactive, and they actually act too late. And this is what's happened every time. Remember, I showed you again an old chart about the Fed always reacting way too late when recession's coming. And they cause this cyclical swings in the market of boom and bust. And that's because they're not reactive at all. They're not proactive at all. They're just reactive, and all they do is react to what they see immediately in front of them. But the smart guys who make the money actually are proactive, and they move before the markets really move. They're already taking their positions. So, yeah, that's very, very interesting to understand where the markets are going in terms of the overall economy, because all these markets are driven by the macroeconomics, and the geopolitics are kind of the black swan events. The macroeconomic events are the events that people can see from what's happening with all sorts of different indicators.
We got the gremlins. The gremlins are in the code.
Geopolitical, then that could be very negative. Maybe some people have some inside information about that. I don't know, Bruce.
What was that? Because you froze there again for a minute.
Yeah, I was just talking about, really what we can see and what we can deduce is all about the macroeconomic side. We can look and we can deduce, and the market traders, they're really good at doing that, and they're actually better than the Fed because they're proactive. The Fed are just reactive. They just react to what they see, whereas the market, people who trade the market react in advance of things happening. So that's what you need to watch. But I was just saying, the only things that the black swans are the geopolitical events, and it's very rare. If they are true black swans, nobody can predict them. But I suspect there are some people who have got some knowledge of what's going on geopolitically, with Israel, Ukraine, etc.
Yeah. Well, it's and now this week-long deal that that Israel has put out, 1 week. So, I mean, basically, Lebanon, they're not going to come to some type of agreement in the next week. I mean, that's just, that's not going to happen. So now we're looking at full-scale war in Lebanon as well, which, I mean, I knew was coming. I think most of us knew was coming. But it's just
maybe Bruce, I mean, we're talking, all this fits together. and it's actually logical conclusions that are drawn from this on an economic basis. Looking at macroeconomics, everything I've done today makes sense about gold, about the dollar, about the various assets, about the stock markets. But also, if we're looking at a final push to the upside, following these triangles that we've seen we appear to be seeing in Bitcoin, we appear to be seeing in Litecoin. As I say, these are fairly rare chart formations, but following a triangle, as I said, you see the final terminal thrust from the triangle. That is the last move. That would be the last move to the upside in this particular cycle. So following that, you'd expect to see some substantial downside. And maybe that's taken into account the geopolitics. Maybe you're absolutely right. A wider war in the Middle East, and I think that's certainly a strong, sad but strong possibility.
Yep. Yeah, that would be pretty interesting too. And that's one of the things, these charts, they always seem to work out whether you want them to or not, right? That's
I mean, the charts reflect really what the big players are doing. I mean, it's the big players that really do control the market, and retailers try to follow and try to get in tune with them, but the big players are the ones that really shape the market. And it's the big movements in and out of particular assets, and particularly even with Bitcoin, it's got quite a big market cap now. But even so, whales can still move the market, and that's the case if you get even within traditional stock markets. People group together, the big market makers, the big institutions, and they're the ones that move the market. So they actually shape the charts, and the charts are just a picture really of what they're doing. And they have the best information that's accessible anywhere on Earth. They have access to the best information. They shape the charts. So it actually makes sense for us to try to understand what the charts are telling us about what they know. And that's the only clue we have, because the clue are a manifestation of their thinking, really. So, and that's why, again, I don't want to go on too much, but it is really important to understand charts. If you want to make money out of this market, you need to understand the charts, because it gives you insight into what they're thinking, and it gives you a much better chance to position yourself in the same way that they'll be positioning themselves to make money.
Well, that's exactly right. And as we talk about sometimes, the 95%, only 5% of traders make money trading, and a lot of that does have to do with the fact that these big players are out there. I mean, even before this September 7th or October 7th or whatever the attack was there in Israel, they had, these traders had massive shorts of the market. When you have a big attack like that, when you have these big geopolitical things going on, there are a decent amount of insiders that know it's going to happen. There's no way you can
that was a proven fact, wasn't it, Bruce? That
yes.
There were people who actually shorted the market before that happened. An actual fact.
It's an actual fact.
It was
another actual fact is that we had the largest military trade show here in the U.S. Here in Washington D.C., and Israel was the largest sponsor by far. I mean, when I tell you by far, man, it was almost, they had like a third of the whole place. They had like their own consulate in there. I mean, they were set to go, nicely arranged for. And so then the attack happened on like Saturday, and then that show started on Monday, and they sold a bunch of stuff. They got a bunch of stuff. So I don't know, but I'm just saying that, people play these markets, and our indicators are, and the thing about charting is that it gives us the indicators. We don't always know why it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's actually the purest form of analysis is looking at the charts themselves. So you can look at particular indicators, moving averages, Bollinger Bands, whatever you want to look at. They're all little pieces of the jigsaw. It's actually the chart is actually telling you what the big people are doing in the market. And actually you need to try to understand their thinking, because when you think about it, you're playing poker against them, really. They can see your hand because we've said this before. They know where your stop losses are. They know what your leverage is. They know what your balance is. Everything. They know how to move the markets, and they're actually here. Their job is to collect your money as retailers' money. That's their main job, and
Yes.
so they know exactly everything about you, but you know very little about them. And it's really observation and experience over a long period of time that teaches you exactly what they're thinking. And when you see particular movements in the market or particular chart patterns, it usually tells you a little bit about what the institutions are doing and what they're thinking, and can better prepare you to try to ideally front run them, or at least understand what they're doing.
Yes. Pretty interesting too. Boeing, now we had another plane go in flames. I mean, gosh, that I don't know what Boeing stock looks like at the moment, but I mean, these guys, they just can't catch a break. Boeing down just slightly. That's a big stock, but of course we'll see how it opens up today. But that Supermax, that plane, so nice. I'm sure you flew on a couple of them. I flew on a couple of them back and forth to Dubai. It shaved about 2 hours off the flight, which is pretty nice, because it takes, a 13-hour flight or 14-hour flight and makes it, 11 or 12 hours, which is a big difference on a flight like that. And super nice. But yeah, they've been having so many problems. They grounded them. And Dubai was actually one of the first airlines that I saw. I don't know what intel they had, but they stopped using them. And now I've just seen just on the old Boeings back and forth lately. So anyhow, great analysis, Matt. And we'll follow up a little bit here. Let's have a call if you have some time in an hour or so.
That'll be fantastic. Look forward to that. Thank you, David. Thank you, Bruce. And thank you, everybody, for listening. It's a real pleasure to be part of the show. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Talk soon.
Cheers. Bye for now.
Cheers. So speaking of Boeing, I mean, the geopolitical situation here, Boeing, let's see, 4230. Let me just put this out here. Talking about Boeing, 4230, right? Yeah. It is almost like it's on purpose. It's almost like it's on purpose.
Could be strategic.
I mean? How in the world can this massive company like Boeing have so many problems over and over again? I mean, it's talking about Boeing. You know what I mean? Like I just, it makes me wonder. Let me just show you this. Did you see the video?
No.
Let me show you. Pretty interesting here. We have this.
Is it with some part?
Huh?
Some part inside the engine?
Oh man, the engine was going. Boeing. Just share my screen here. This is well, first of all, they've been having all kinds of trouble with the stuff falling apart. So that's, just lately. I mean, it's been really one thing after the other that they've been having issues with here.
Right.
Yes, that is correct. So first of all, you see here, when a Boeing 787 operates an autopilot, this is their flight control thing. Okay, that's fine. Boeing, look at this. Look at this.
Oh boy.
Imagine you're on that flight.
No, with no parachute.
Well, that's right. They should have a parachute for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Everyone should have a parachute. I want a parachute when I go on. So that's midair. Right after, and it's another midair engine fire. It's not just the first one. Of course, the MAX that I was just talking about, NTSB criticizes Boeing after missing documents. The thing about these planes, guys, that no one likes to talk about is that the new planes have a kill switch. they're so electronic, and they're so high tech. They're just like the cars. And I know it's like supposedly conspiracy theory that they are putting a kill switch in the cars, but I mean it's in a bill, it's in legislation. Right? You can call it conspiracy theory if you want, but I mean it's there in written legislation that there's a kill switch in the new cars, and so they can turn your car off.
Yeah.
Total control.
Yeah, let that get into Dr. Evil's hands. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's like, not even like you have to, Dr. Evil, or even just like, what about Dr. Evil, I guess, some type of bad actor.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or somebody jealous of something.
Jealous lover. I mean, even worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, these are. So you have these planes now that, I mean, let's face it. I think that when you're when you're dealing with state actors as well, that this is a situation where I think that for the most part, I mean, a state actor can infiltrate the system. I don't think that we should be under any I think we should be. The reality is that a state actor like China or like Russia or something like that, it can, if there's a kill switch on a Boeing, they can figure out how to get to it. Okay, I think that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just some neighborly kid that knows how to hack. Could be anybody, really.
That's a good point too. It could even be a neighborly kid. Neighborly kid. So that is going to be, I guess that's going to be pretty interesting to see how that all that plays out. Let's see, what are we at here? We're at 47. I want to talk about my friends here just real quickly. Shib with hat. These guys. They're on a tear, up 42% on the day, back up to a penny.
Yeah. It's actually a nice entry point from their high a few hours ago.
It is, right? From their high, they pumped all the way up here. Guys, this thing is got legs, okay? Up almost 500%. Looks to me like it has legs. Look, guys, anything can happen, but look at that. And if you switch over here and you start looking at Shib with hat, you start looking at the different posts and stuff like this. I mean, guys, this one is starting to go. It looks to me, there we are, of course. We have been supporters here. And so something like this guy's new. He doesn't have a huge account, but he's putting out videos. You have a lot of different stuff happening as the community starts to really respond to this one. So anyway, I think, look, it's over a 10 million market cap again. If they have their eyes on dog with hat, same type of thing, dog with hat, right? And that has a $1.7 billion market cap. So if it moves like that, that's going to be pretty interesting. We're going to be some pretty happy dudes, I'll tell you that, David. We're going to be pretty happy. Yes. Yeah. We're going to be back in Monaco. Maybe we'll rent another yacht. Tell my wife it's all business.
I'll let you take the bill on that one.
So pretty fun. One that I like a lot. We actually have some pretty exciting other AI projects and stuff like that are coming up as well. Eve is an AI platform, Eve.io. That's Matt Dixon's company. Put his link up there. Eve, we made a bunch of money with Eve just following the signals on this platform. And I know that they are going to update it as well. But okay, got it. That is a pretty awesome platform already. Eve.io. Make sure to check that out. Of course, you can learn to trade with us as well at learn-to-trade.club. Learn how to trade.club. Use discount code TradeSmart10. Shib with hat on a tear. Haha. The community is growing strong. Stronger every day. Boom. Dog. Anyway, fun meme coin, guys. Don't bet don't put all your money in it, but those ones can be a lot of fun, as I mentioned before. But overall, the markets, you see, we have some pretty nice entry points overall. I think, if this is our pullback, and then we're going to move up. Ethereum is down about 2.5% on the daily. Bitcoin down. About BNB, nice move up, 437. Good stuff, David.
Yeah.
We are. Did I already post that? Where's my post? There it is. All right, so David, I think that we have done another great show here. It was a little bit hard to handle with my initial. What is going on here? I lost my audio. Man. The gremlins were all over me.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to stop you.
They can't stop me. I am unstoppable.
You're like the storm.
I am the storm. Exactly, David. Exactly. All right, well, folks, we will be back on in 5 hours. Oh, I have been contacting multiple different places. David, of course, the Paris Blockchain Week. I want to go live. I want to broadcast for the Paris Blockchain Week. So we'll see if we can get that set up. I'll keep you in the loop. Guys, awesome. We'll see you in 5 hours on your TV, Smart Money Culture TV. Thanks for joining us.
Stay tuned. Stay lucrative.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.